Donald Trump been a bigger, y'all ain't know. So the latest thing with Donald Trump is that he's wanting to remove the talks about slavery and in our current narratives that we have in the National Museum of African American Culture and History, as well as other museums that talk about how the slave trade happened, who was at the roots of the mass unaliving of indigenous people, as well as various other atrocities that have taken place around the globe. And I just want to say, what else did y'all expect out of a white supremacist? Quite frankly, just quite frankly. So if you're like me and you're a person that hosts like topics on this platform, you talk about stuff like this on a regular basis, then you would know that day erasure has already started. There's already been over 3,000, probably even like over 10,000 by now, pages of information related to Black history, queer history, and other forms of history that's been removed from both federal agencies as well as organizations that are privately ran but take federal money. One that is very important to me is the page titled The Historical Foundations of Race, which you can find on the African American Smithsonian Museum's website. Well, used to, might I add. And I'm going to input the images here so that you can see what the page looked like before and what it looks like now. So yes, there are apparently efforts to try and now that they've gotten rid of the history that they don't want there, they want to put in history that they do want there. And that's a problem because history is history and you cannot really change the history. You can rewrite the history as much as you want to, but the history is in fact the history. And there are going to be people who have the history and can counteract these unprovable claims that are not backed up with any sources, but they can actually provide you the real sources for that. We have primary sources to support the things that we're saying and why we can say adamantly that the pages that we post do in fact make sense. Donald Trump's history is not going to have any primary sources to back up the shit that it's saying. It's just going to be a bunch of bullshit put together, and he's going to make these outlets that people rely to for information the sources that people use whenever they have the conversations with other people, or whenever they're trying to teach lessons to their students, or whatever it is that they may be doing at that time.